Hello, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new. We're trying to hit 1K before, well, the end of the year, as soon as possible, really. So make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I wasn't going to do a video today, but again, another Florian Plettenberg tweet has come out. And again, it's about Lopetegui. And when this many things come out about the manager's speculated future, there's no smoke without fire. There's no smoke without fire. Let's share the tweet. Okay. The owners of West Ham continue to back Julian Lopetegui. However, the next three games leading up to the international break will be crucial for his future. Lopetegui is well aware of this. His strong work ethic is highly appreciated at West Ham, but the team's progress has stalled. In the background, potential candidates have already been evaluated to be prepared. Now, if they're preparing for the worst case scenario, something's wrong. Something's wrong. And the reason why I say that is because usually we don't move like this. Usually we don't move like this where we want to sack a manager quickly. And this never happens, especially when they've just arrived at the club. And that's how bad of a job he's been doing. And it's not even by media outlets that are going to push the narrative of the whole David Moyes thing, because David Moyes has been sacked, that, they're already offended and they already want to stir shit up. It's by Florian Plettenberg, who's a Steiner leak. And this is what I'm talking about a bit more. I feel like you're going to see us linked to way more managers if we lose tomorrow, or if we fail to win tomorrow, and we're going to lose to Nottingham Forest. I think we can all agree. But against Everton, we might win a game and it might delay his job for another month. I'm pretty sure that's the next fixtures. Let me just check it now. Okay, so just checking the fixtures from there. If you look at this, Man United tomorrow, Nottingham Forest away, and then Everton at home. This is all very interesting because we haven't won at Forest away yet. The tomorrow's game could go either way, and Everton at home we literally lost last year. So those are the three games that he's going to decide. If you guys want my opinion, I don't know whether we'll lose every game, because I'm literally predicting a draw tomorrow, but I don't think he'll win any of the three games, because Everton, even though they're not the best side, they find a way somehow. They're playing Fulham in 10 minutes, funny enough. Nottingham Forest away, as I said, we haven't won there yet. And I was actually working on a day that we was at the City Ground last year, so I didn't really see how bad that performance was, but that that was one of David Moyes' finest in terms of disaster classes. However, when it comes to this manager, if he's fully aware of the pressure he's under, Mohamed Kudus is out, etc., he's got to get these team selections spot on. He's got to get these tactics spot on. He's got to let his guard down. He can't be stubborn. If he wants to get the best out of this team, he's got to change his ways. Because we've discussed a million times on why the tactics are wrong, why we're losing games, why the approach to the games have been awful, the bad team selections, the bad man management, the bad substitutions, the way he makes substitutions and the way he sets up a team. All of this is awful. All of it. All of it has been awful. So we're going to see how he does in these games. And what does he need to do? He just needs to win games. I said this before the Tottenham game. It's not that hard to get this team to work. You just let the players play with freedom. However, is the manager going to do that? I feel like he lets the team play with freedom a little bit more at home than he does away from home. But the problem is we've only won one home game anyway. And what I don't want to see is, for example, if we draw tomorrow, or let's say we draw all three games, that can't be enough to get him in a job. Don't do what Man United did, where they drew to Porto and Aston Villa, and Ten Hag kept his job from there, even though we don't even know if Ten Hag really had any sort of threat of him getting sacked in the first place. It's got to be wins. It can't be based off purely just like 1 point here and there. I demand wins. We've only won 2 games, guys. We only won 2 games, one away game and one home game. We literally drew to Brentford and Fulham, lost badly to Chelsea and Tottenham. Gave a great performance against Man City, but we didn't finish our chances. I can't really blame the manager for that game, because I didn't at the time. But the Villa game I can, the Palace game I can, the Fulham and Brentford game I can, the Tottenham game I can, the Chelsea game I can. Those are the games I can blame the manager for. I don't even know if I've missed any other games out that where we weren't up to the standard. I think I got them all. But when I mentioned the Palace game as well, you got to remember that first half was exactly like the Villa game where we just hoofed the ball in the air and it got turned over quickly. Um, but yeah, like legit with when it comes to the manager, I talked about this on a watch along yesterday for the Leicester Forest game. I should have seen the signs in pre-season because there were signs there, but I chose to just give it time because I was going to give it time in pre-season. I'm not going to complain too much, not going to rave too much when it comes to pre-season. My mentality even then was to stay grounded. I saw some good things, saw some bad things. I have a million tweets about it if you want to go back. But I should have seen from then that something was wrong. And the thing is, when a manager has a pre-season, even if they're new, whether it's their first season or whether it's their fourth season, they get the mentality and the principles and the philosophy in the players' heads. But it looks like there is none. There is no philosophy. I don't know. As I always been saying, take a shot every time you hear this in a Mike's video. I don't know what we're trying to do. So with this coming up, you've already seen us linked to someone like an Edin Terzic, for example. I feel like you're going to see us linked to Graham Potter. I feel like that's bound to happen. If we're only linked to managers that are out of a job as well, something's wrong as well. Like already from then, if we're just linked to managers that are free agents that are that you don't have to pay any compensation for, which nobody's going to be surprised if Sullivan doesn't pay any compensation and he's still running the manager stuff, then write the season off and write next season off. And I'm not overreacting by saying that. And it doesn't matter who the coach is, because the best managers out there are ones with a job. Now, I think the best managers that don't have a job right now are probably Consensal, Sarri, and Potter. Those are probably the best ones that I can think of. And the reason why I say best is because I know what them teams look like. I've only watched Consensal twice with Porto against Arsenal, but I know exactly what a Consensal team looks like. Only problem with him is he's a bit of a head case, so you never know with him. But I don't know too much about him necessarily. But 2 games, you know what his team looks like, and from a defensive standpoint and from an attacking standpoint, I don't know whether he'd be on a shortlist though. With Edin Terzic, I don't know what an Edin Terzic team looks like, and I watch way more Dortmund games than I have Porto. I know some of you guys are very mixed. Some of you guys don't want him. Some of you guys do want him. I wouldn't be too sure about him. I know because he's German, he's probably going to get linked a bit more because it was reported by Plettenberg, and Plettenberg, I'm pretty sure, some of his reports are linked with Stein, and they're both German. So that kind of makes sense. With Graham Potter, I know what a Graham Potter team looks like. I'm just not too sure whether whether he can do it with this team. Just because at Brighton, and I think I'll talk about this in a bit more detail if we're strongly linked with Graham Potter. But under under Brighton, like he was the first manager to really get them playing the type of football that we're still seeing today. 2 managers later in, were under Herzl and De Zerbi, where the players are used to a possession-based style of football anyway. So whatever manager comes in just needs to tweak a couple things, and then they can get used to the style of play. No, the style of play is different every time. It's just that's why it's so easy for them because the players are very good at just taking to a style of play that they have, and the recruitment's really good. So no one really looks out of place manager-wise or player-wise. And with Maurizio Sarri, well, no, sorry, staying on Potter. Um, at Chelsea, I'm not really judging him too much on a Chelsea spell because it's very hard to come into, for example, that squad. That squad wasn't great compared to the squad they have now, and also it's a very hard job when he was the first appointment of that ownership where they didn't really have a structure at the time for a lot of it, and they were still trying to get used to it. He deserved to be sacked, but wasn't really expecting too much from him as a neutral. So I'm not really going to take that reign into account too much. With Maurizio Sarri, another former Chelsea manager, I think he can give you some form of balance as well. My thing with him is that when it comes to playing players out of position, I think he might have to be worried a bit with that. I think he can play the right style of football that is suited to our players, but that's just me. That's just me. I wouldn't mind Sarri. I think he'd be okay. But I just want a manager, guys, that is going to take us to that level of the European football that we need to have consistently, like a similar appointment to what Unai Emery was at Aston Villa, but it's whether our club's actually going to do that or not. But anyway, Make sure to like the video, people. Make sure to subscribe if you are new. Social medias are in the description if you want to follow me. The email for the inquiries on the road to 1K. The match reactions to the Manchester United game will be at 8 p.m. tomorrow. But anyway, I'll see you guys later.